Hi, everybody. This is Maxine Taylor with another edition of Move into the Magic. And I am so excited to introduce to you somebody who many of you already know because Rebecca Jernigan has been a pioneer in the internet talk radio world since the early 2000s. So many of you have been interviewed by her. You've listened to her shows. Thousands of you have listened to her, if only her guests. The rest of us form another several thousand in the audience. Rebecca is a lifelong researcher and seeker of the mysteries that define who we are, yet so often elude our understanding. I know that you know what I'm talking about. Having been involved in some of the most incredible and cherished otherworldly experiences and guidance from her earliest memories. So this is something that's been going on for a while. Rebecca has dedicated her life to helping others answer the unanswered questions. And as I said, she's been a pioneer in internet radio. And she has shared her guests' stories and information along with her own experiences in a lifetime of direct communication with the Elohim and other beings. And so with that, I'm going to introduce a wonderful person to you, Rebecca Jernigan. Welcome to Moving Magic.
Oh, and absolutely a fantastic time to be here. And you are such a lovely lady. I want everyone out there to know that you've touched me in my heart, and it's just my honor and to be here with you. And we'll talk about you being on my show a little bit later in this broadcast.
Okay. Some of you may not know this, but Rebecca and I were hosts. We had our own shows on Carrie Cassidy's Project Camelot TV network, which she is now saying goodbye to. And so I reached out to Rebecca. I was totally led to do that. And we connected beautifully. And I want to share her with you. And I've invited her to talk about a topic that grabbed me, and I know it's going to grab some of you. Are you ready? The topic is night visions. So, Rebecca, I'm going to ask you, first of all, what are night visions? And I'd like you to also explain the Elohim and these other beings with whom you have connected. Take it away.
Well, let's start out with the Elohim. They were introduced to me when I was about 4, and it's a collective. The first, I'll call him an ambassador that came forward was and even in those days, and I didn't understand the word, was that he was an elder. That's what we would term him as an elder. A wise, beautiful soul that was very ethereal, very straight and proper, but yet there was this loving presence. So after I was introduced to this particular being, I have always been a person, even from the time I can remember, 3 or 4 years old, of having dreams. Most people call them dreams. I have since learned the difference, and I'll explain that here in a minute, between dreams and night visions, because they are different. They're very, very different. And I'm going to hopefully maybe give some people some information that will allow them to begin to determine whether they're having night visions or whether they're just having dreams. And there'll be some information. So I was introduced to the Elohim when I was a very young girl. However, this interesting part of that is, Maxine, is that I actually didn't know who they were specifically by name until I was probably in my 30s. Mm-hmm. And the only reason I found out about their name was because every time I would have a client come in, they would ask me, who was I speaking with, and who was communicating with me, and I would tell them. And I would say, well, they're just my guides. They've always been with me. Well, what's their name? Well, I don't know. I never asked. It's just one of those things. You get a sense, a knowing of, and I call it the energy signature, that signature of who they are when they show themselves or present themselves or they interact with me, however that goes forward. And so I thought, well, maybe it wouldn't be such a bad idea to find out who it is that I'm actually talking with. It's one of those things. So interestingly enough, I sat down and I said, okay, so who am I talking with? And there was no answer at that time. And I have one of the things I've learned, Maxine, is patience. I have learned that the answers come to you when they're supposed to come to you. So interestingly enough, I was doing a healing session. A group of us were working on an individual. We were doing some Reiki. I used to hold open houses. And as I was standing there running this energy, which is really a channeling of energy, the voice that I was always familiar with came forward and said, "We are the Elohim." And I turned around and looked because it was like they were standing right there. The voice was outside of this. And so I asked them to repeat it again, and they did. So then the message came that you must do some research because all that is written is not necessarily truth. So that was how I was introduced to the Elohim. And in between there were other beings, spiritual beings, off-world beings that would come forward and have communication, and still do to this day, conversations with me. So that's how I found out who they were.
Gotcha.
So let's talk a little bit now about night visions and alternate realities.
Yes.
In the same sentence. This is, by the way, is a book that I'm working on. Hopefully I will have it done before the end of this year. And it's just a compilation of all the things that I personally have experienced, how I have figured out the difference between a dream, a night vision. Is it an alternate reality? Is it not an alternate reality? And of course, the more we learn, the more we grow, the more we understand what we may not have been able to say 20 years ago, 30 years ago, because we have more information. We've lived more. We've experienced more. So when I was a very young girl, I used to have visitations in the evenings when I would go to sleep by a negative entity. And this was right after I had met the elder, and I call him the elder. And during that time, Maxine, what was fascinating was that after the being would leave, then it would enter into my dream time, what we call dream time. And this entity would chase me around, and I would be very, very frightened, to the point where I was paralyzed. Even as a child, I couldn't scream. I could barely breathe. I certainly couldn't move. The voice of the elder came through and taught me how to get past that paralysis and how to change the action that was happening, because we're in control of that space. That's our reality. That's our alternate reality. I believe our dream state or night vision state is just as valid as this one when we're awake, so to speak, consciously aware, and we're moving through our physical days. So I truly believe that these evening time visions and dreams or actions, whatever's going on, is something that is very, very much valid. So there's been a lot of talk from people about with the difference between night visions and what is a dream. A lot of times dreams are not virtual. They're bits and pieces of things maybe that's happened either through your day or through your weeks. If you've went through a trying time or changing time, you can begin to kind of pull those apart. And in a night vision, in a time when you're actually able to get into your dreams, this is where lucid dreaming comes in, the term lucid dreaming.
Yes.
When you're either very physically aware or mentally aware that you are a participant in this dream. So sometimes we're in first person and sometimes we're in third person. At least that's how it works for me. So sometimes I'm observing what's going on in this state, but it is me that I'm actually working on. It's not that I'm not there. It's that I'm a part of my consciousness sits out here, right? And it's not involved directly, but yet it is, because I sense and feel and understand.
Sure.
So when people are learning how to lucid dream, which means to wake up without fully becoming conscious in the dream state or the night vision state, you can begin to either let the thing flow, allow it to flow and become very aware of it. In other words, you will remember it when you wake up, or you can actually get involved in it and change it. That's what happened to me when I was a young girl. Didn't understand the action, but I woke up. I woke up within the dream state, and I changed that environment of this man, this entity chasing me in the dream time. I changed it. And it was a struggle. Thinking about a 5-year-old child, what did they really understand? Not much, but I trusted this elder as he came forward, and he told me how to do this, and he was very, very supportive. He kept supporting me and driving me forward and going, we're with you, we're with you. There's no need to have fear. And taught me how to let go of the fear in the dream time. So night visions, for me, they've went through this series of metamorphosis as I went along, and they became sequential. I was having a recurring dream that every night for 3 to 4 nights, this dream would continue on from where I left off the night before. Now that was an amazing thing. I also had dreams where I called them blue dreams. In other words, those dreams took place, those night visions took place, and everything was hues of blue. So that was one of them. The other night vision or experience, I call myself an experiencer. The other experience that I had was where a being took me, literally, we were out in different universes and galaxies, and I was being just taken everywhere, and I would stop at certain points and ask questions. All of this is all the information that will be in the book, of the different information that I was given about what goes on out in the universe and the galaxy, what the stars really are, who's inhabiting, what's inhabiting some of these different places. So that was all what it meant to me. And as I speak to you today, I've had another sequential dream sequence that started a few days ago, and I can't wait to see how this story ends.
Well, it sounds to me, Rebecca, that you have all the material you need for a fantastic book. These dreamscapes, I'm going to call them.
Right, it's good choice of words.
It sounds more ethereal, I think, than I had a dream last night. This is the stuff Harry Potter is made of. That type of thing. So of course I've got to encourage you to
Thank you.
do that, because it fires up the imagination and the memory, the recollections of your audience. People who are now in our audience are thinking, oh, I remember when I was a kid, and we've lost them temporarily.
Yes.
They're gone.
Right.
You have opened up their memory banks. You've opened the portal to the other side, where they resided as a child, where there were no limitations. There were no blocks, no walls put up. By the way, in your private practice, do you help people with their dreams and night visions? Is this something you can do for people in our audience?
Yes. There's a term called dream walking.
Yeah.
And that's also something that will be covered in the book, dream walking. But as far as me, I have quite a few clients that come to me and they talk to me about their night visions, their dreams, whichever they prefer to call them. And there's always information in there. as a clairvoyant, I'm actually able to see what it is that they share with me. And Maxine, I have to say this, most of the time when I'm in that space with my client, I don't actually hear the words so much as I see what they're saying. I hear it in vision, in visual form.
Yes, that which would make you the clairvoyant. Absolutely. Whereas the clairaudient hears the words, even not the actual audible words, but hears them in their mind.
Right.
And for those of you in our audience who are interested, by the way, in getting in touch with Rebecca Jernigan, her website is journeyswithrebecca.com. And she would love to hear from you, of course. So just a few nights ago, you started having another wonderful Iliad and Odyssey. I can describe it, because it's very rare that we pick up. We know that it's not a dream. At least I know it's not a dream. If the story picks up where you left off, it's like recording something on TV, and you leave and you come back and you can pick up where you left off. It's hard, and sometimes we have wonderful dreams and we think, oh, I want to go back to it, and it's replaced by something totally different.
Yes, absolutely. Well, and it was a surprise to me when they actually started the sequential dreams. That didn't start until I was in my 40s, and it was, it's spontaneous. I don't go to bed at night thinking, well, I'd like to dream about this or I'd like to dream about that.
Right.
I don't program myself that way. I had to learn how to program myself to waking up so that I could remember what was going on in these dreamscapes, as you called them. I like that term, by the way. And in these night visions and these night experiences. That's why I really, truly believe that they're also an alternate reality. Because one of the things I wanted to share that I didn't while I was chatting was that learning, there will be a list of definitions of what prophetic dreaming is. A lot of times people will have prophecy that comes to them, and they don't understand that it's a prophecy because it's done usually in pictures or in design that person alone has the key to unlock.
Yes.
Teaching people how to unlock themselves so that they can better kind of categorize, for lack of a better way of saying it. Is this a prophetic dream? Is this a virtual dream? Is this a night experience? Is this a spiritual communication?
Yes.
And, what does this have to do? Because some of these night experiences that I will be sharing is prophetic dreams of that were potentials of what might have happened on this planet. It was a planetary thing.
You got a great book right there. You really do. What I do is empower people to empower themselves. And when I hear your story and what you're saying, I've just got to encourage you to put that down. And the book I wrote is a science nonfiction book because it is based on my experience and the experiences of others. Well, in your ongoing odyssey, there's your story, and people love that. So I hope you will add that to your list of books to be written.
Yeah, I have 2 more beyond this one that needs to be done as well. So they've already given me the titles for them, so I already know what the topic matter is. So
just to be clear, just to clarify, because I'm asking for people who are in our audience as well as myself naturally. I wouldn't be interviewing you if I weren't interested in what you had to say. The difference between a night vision and a dream, or the differences between a night vision and a dream. Can you give us some points on those?
A night vision is usually something that is tells a story. In other words, it doesn't have a lot of breaks in it. It won't have a lot of unnecessary pieces of information. It will be like a smooth reading of a smooth book, a chapter, or a couple of paragraphs, but they will all flow together. It will make some sense. It will be understandable to the individual. Whereas dreams, they can be, again, prophetic, which would be something usually in the future that the experiencer would not necessarily understand that they're prophetic at that point until something shows up, but how they can tell the difference. And a dream can be very fragmented. It can be a piece here and a piece there and a piece here, and then you wake up in the morning, you go, wow, that was just weird. It just didn't make a whole lot of sense. There wasn't any connectedness to it.
Yes.
But it was smattering about that thing and a smattering about, they understand the different little pieces, but they do not fit. They don't make sense. There's not any rhyme or reason to the information that you have received other than, oh, I guess I have to work on the anger over here that I had towards that person. There might be a little pieces, but it's not flows. It does not flow. So very fragmented and disjointed, usually. Or they're just totally nonsensical that they're even so far out that they can't be an alternate reality.
And let me ask you this about alternate reality. Put that in the mix. How do you know the difference then? And I'm asking this for people for who have these experiences and are trying to categorize them.
Mm-hmm.
How do you know the difference between visiting an alternate reality, and is there a difference between a dream and alternate reality, as well as nightscapes, night vision? So we've got the dream, we've got night visions, and we've got alternate reality. Can you separate them?
Yes, an alternate reality is one in which, and see, this is where people have to learn how to ascertain background, environment, their feeling, their emotion, what is being, what is coming through their mind at the time that they're in this scape, whatever it is, whether it's a dreamscape, it's a alternate reality, or it's a night vision, whatever the case may be. They have to learn to pay attention to the details. How does that make you feel? Just like I called the blue dreams. They were a color of blue that we do not have on this planet. So how do I know they were blue? Because it's as close as I can get to helping other people understand that these dreams were very significant, these blue dreams.
Yes.
In alternate reality, I had another sequential dream, and this one was interesting because it would pick up months later. It would be an ongoing dream, but it would pick up in pieces later. And then it all came together, and I was like, oh, I understand that now. But I knew I was somewhere else. I wasn't on this earth. I knew I was, based on, first of all, the landscape was very different. It felt different. It felt foreign to me, not like a foreign land, like going over to Italy or, China or whatever. It felt like it was not the planet Earth. The scaping was different. There were things there that I understood, dwellings and things like that. But I was on a mode of transportation that does not exist in this reality, right? There were things that I was wearing and things that I was thinking, and other people that were involved in it, they were not of this human reality, but yet it flowed. It was a sequential dream. It was non-fragmented. It was all there, and there was a message. I mean, the message was very clear. The information was very clear. It was very concise. It's like you recalling your day. You can be very concise. Well, 8 o'clock, I got up and I did this, this, and this, and this. These are what those alternate realities should feel like to somebody, is very similar to a waking understanding. A dream, again, is more fragmented, usually, if they're prophetic, again, the person may not understand that it's prophetic, but it's how do they feel in the moment that they're having that experience at night? How do they feel? And so so all of that will also be included in the book. There'll be everything so that people can have some tools to pick up so that they can start determining what works best for them. How does this world work for them? As far as the night visions, as far as the experiences, the alternate realities. So I'm looking forward to it, and I will certainly let you know when it's completed.
Oh, please, please. Because everybody is going to want to get a copy of that book. And I thank you so much
Oh,
for sharing your expertise with us today. And once again, everybody, you can get in touch with Rebecca Jernigan by going to her website, journeyswithrebecca.com. And once again, Rebecca has carried through my mantra, which is when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. Till next time. Bye for
thank you.